Hey everybody, it's David Schroeder back for another edition of the Home Connection through Caliber Home Loans. Boy, there is a lot going on in our industry these days. We continue to grow by leaps and bounds, both in our capabilities and the things that we're offering our team members, but thankfully also our team member base. And so I am excited today to be joined by Mr. Craig Lombardi, who is leading our direct-to-broker group here in Dallas, Texas, and hiring at a frenzied pace to bring on new talented people. So Craig Lombardi, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
All right, so Craig joins us from a deep background in call centers and mortgage, but not necessarily wholesale, which I think is important as we go into this. So, we're not necessarily, Craig, looking for people who only have wholesale. What is the profile that we're looking for right now?
That's a great question. We're looking for anyone and everyone that wants to be a wholesale account executive that has even a little bit of background in mortgage. And actually, some of our top folks don't have necessarily a direct-to-consumer or wholesale account executive sales background. They actually have a processing or underwriting background. So our broker partners, most of them, they're up and running. They know how to run their business, but they need help getting their loans closed and through the systems and the processes. So we're looking for folks that are also teachers of the process for our broker partners as well.
Yeah, I think that's right. When I think about great account executives, there is always a mastery of the craft, and there's so importantly that just ability to communicate clearly and to empathize and really, work hard. I mean, so much of it is about having a servant's mentality, for lack of a better term, of just wanting to help people and particularly our brokers to grow. And that's something that, is almost impossible to train. It's kind of, you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, I agree. I think for our team, our account executives wear really 5 hats in their job. Number one, they're always learning, of course. Number two, they're always teaching. And then they're prospecting, of course, selling, of course. But the real hat that folks want to wear in the AE role is the solutions architect position. And if they're solutions based, thought process driven individuals, they'll do quite well in this role.
Yeah, agree. So, like I mentioned, look, we need that somebody who's willing to run to the fire, if you will, to help our brokers. The other thing, though, is that clearly we want to be an asset to our partners, to helping them, and as I mentioned, being the master of their craft, being somebody who can help a broker elevate their business. So, what are some of the things that you would highlight that we're doing to train up people and provide people resources to be the best that they can be?
Yeah, just about 9 months ago, I went through the exact training that our new account executives will go through. And we have 2 weeks of comprehensive formal training, largely systems based. But we talk about the opportunity in the class. We talk about where we get new accounts and how to keep accounts with us as well, how to maintain account base. Most of the systems can be learned in just those 2 weeks. But to get to the point where you can teach the systems takes a little bit longer, and we understand that. So we actually have a 4-week total training. First 2 weeks formal training on mostly systems, our processes, and the basics of the account executive role. Then weeks 3 and 4, we consider nesting. That's when we have our trainers that have direct account executive experience and our mentors helping our newer account executives kind of get through that first couple weeks. The research that they need to take on or make on the accounts, along with how to start a conversation with a new broker partner that you've never talked to before. And highly likely, I'd say 95% of our accounts know about Caliber Home Loans, and likely they've worked with us in the past or they're new entrants into the space. And so we teach our new account executives how to go through that conversation as well.
Yeah, what stands out to me, a couple of things, Craig, that you brought up. One of them is that mentoring piece. We really do, as cliche as it sounds, work to build a family here at Caliber, and we've just found that some of the more seasoned AEs are so willing, surprisingly at some level, to take time out of their day on an ongoing basis and take questions in kind of a huddle format with newer AEs, or just be available. And so I don't know if you can speak to any examples on that or places where that's really made an impact. But I feel like, we're plugging people into some of the top account executives in the business from day one.
Yeah, our training team is incredible. The folks we work with in training, top shelf. Some people use the term world class, I think wrongly. I think we use it in the right way. Our training team is fantastic. But as an additive to that, an added benefit, we have some of the top account executives in the country on our team, and they're more than willing to help out. Post those 4 weeks of formal training, we also have 90 days of ongoing training every single day for 22 minutes, and our folks jump in there and they talk about real world, real life scenarios. And then on Fridays, we have open office hours where any account executive in the company can join that call and talk about real situations that they're going through that they want to learn about or teach. In addition to that, we've had mentor calls with our most experienced account executives sharing how they got through their first few months on the job in the new career, and they've gotten more, I think, from those calls than any call that you or I could host. Hearing from somebody that's successful in the role that you've taken on, there's nothing that's better than that. And our account executives at Caliber, cliche, one team, one caliber, maybe, but
Yeah,
it's true. They really do put themselves out there for to help anyone and everyone that asks. Never, not once in my career here has someone said, "No, I don't have time to help you, sir."
yeah.
100% of the time, our account executives will jump in. You spoke about running to the fire for our broker partners. I think they run a little bit faster for one another as well.
Yeah, sign of a great team. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
Um, so hey, here we are. We're doing this remote. Um, some of us aren't shaving as much as we used to. When we
Thanks.
look at different skill sets in a remote environment, what's your impression, both from your experience over the last 9 months, and also what you're hearing from more seasoned account executives of how that's changing COVID and working from home, how that's changing the role, changing the skill sets that are required, which muscles are we having to build?
Yeah, that the I keep saying that there's cliches. I guess they're there for a reason. The stereotypical, um, you know, this is the closest position that I firmly believe this is the closest position that's still W-2'd that would be considered, self-employed. I really
Hmm.
believe that. There's an autonomy there in the role that exists already, like pre-COVID, call it BC, before COVID. We had an autonomous role. Not once have we said, here's what you need to do today, here's what you need to say on the phones today. We provide ample tips and tricks to the trade, but we've never put together, a script. So the folks we're looking for can take that autonomous position. Pretend you're 1099, 100% commission, but working from home in addition creates a responsibility on oneself that is a little bit greater, um, you know, because you're not around other people. And the accountability, holding oneself accountable, is paramount to success in this role. So as we look into the future and we're looking for folks that can be account executives, we also need them to be able to run their own business truly inside their four walls of their home office right now. And that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I think the key there, Craig, for me is that, look, it's a very entrepreneurial industry. And I mean that both for our amazing broker partners that are out there um, surviving and thriving through all markets, but also account executives. Like you said, you're building a business and it's your own book. And any entrepreneur knows that you've got to be resilient and adaptive. And I see in this environment, one of the examples I see is just the video, leaning on video. I hear so at the beginning of this pandemic, I remember being on so many calls where nobody was on camera, even myself. Um, and now it's almost an oddity to not see that. And I think, we had talked to one of the top brokers in the country, a great partner of ours, a few weeks ago, and he was saying that, he leads his team to always, cameras up, cameras up. And I think that's important, not just internally, but externally, because the business is so much about connections. And every little bit you can get to make a connection serves you well. So if you can add voice to video, you're ahead of the game. And I think, everybody needs to continually be pushing themselves in new directions, be that video, social media, et cetera. So I would say, one of the skills for any account executive and really success in life is to be open to change, trying new things, putting yourself out there and practice. Nobody gets good at video overnight. It takes repetition after repetition.
Yeah, technology adopters typically, if you look at the history of the United States, folks that adopt technology typically do well. I think we can say that they're quite successful. And the earlier we can do that, the better we're going to be. And I'd like to think that our team was one of the first teams that got on video 100% of the time, with one another. That's step one. Step two is being able to put yourself out there for a broker partner. And in the traditional model, you'd walk into the office, you'd do a tutorial, you'd do a training, maybe bring, the donuts and the coffee, and you'd be able to walk a broker partner through the system by touching their keyboard. In absence of that ability, in most cases, we have to rely upon technology and adopting technology rapidly in order to get that same connection with someone. So essentially, what can we do to make it so that everything we do feels like we're in the office? And that's what we're striving towards right now. Admittedly, a late adapter to the fact that we're working from home. I'd love the office environment to be back sooner, but for the safety and the health of our team members, we're not in a rush to get there. And now knowing that, and knowing that this is going to be a little bit longer, we've materially changed our adoption practices to technology, and that bodes well for our broker partners too, because in their cases, they might not be able to speak with their clients directly, and the more we can get on video chat, video conference, and share our knowledge of that technology, the better they'll be as well. Even through osmosis, if we're not teaching them that directly, if that's not the point or purpose of the call, if we can show the example of how to do that, broker partners will pick up on it. And you mentioned some of the top in the country are leading in that area.
That's exactly right. The other thing that stands out to me, and I don't know if it's a new skill, um, and it probably is for everybody. We live in this amazing time right now of big data, and being able to know things that historically weren't knowable, to the frontline salesperson, to our operations team members, et cetera. And we're finding interesting new ways to bring that forward so that we get greater insight into which partners might be most interested in hearing from us today, and which messages are most relevant to them. And so I think another skill that people are developing and that people need to develop over time is learning more how to kind of follow that data. I mean, we don't want to create robots, obviously, that are just reading from scripts, but we do need people who can trust the data to some level and intuitively be able to follow that path as they go forward. And I think you would agree we're developing some pretty interesting tools to help people do that. And ultimately, the goal is to have AEs that are more successful, reach more partners, and elevate the partners' business to levels they haven't seen before.
Yeah, so take a minute and just take out all of the extra things that people have to do now in the during COVID, the DC world that we're in, right? So take out, the young ones going to school, or the lack of ability to go even to a dentist appointment that you want to get to faster, or, get a haircut. Take all that out, and then just look at the AE position. When someone logs in for the day, they have hundreds of things they can do next. So with data, and with data leading that story, we can actually allow our account executives to breathe easy, knowing that we kind of know what should be done next. And again, in that autonomous position, they still have the ability to do whatever it is that they feel will make them successful. But we can actually show our account executives, and conversely our broker partners, maybe what to do next, be it in our CRM or our LOS. And that goes pretty far, especially for folks that are adopting that data first mentality. If we make decisions that are driven by data, but have just that gut instinct along with them from being in the business for as long as we have been, I don't know a better combination for an account executive to be able to actually be a part of that and know that the company is doing that part for them, so they don't have to worry about it as much. And those account executives that adopt that data first or data led decision making, they'll be ahead of the curve for sure.
That's right. Let them spend more time building relationships, empathizing, and solving more interesting problems.
The
So
things the bots can't do,
that's
right?
exactly right. Yeah. So, hey, you and I, we've worked together in the past. We got together earlier this year in a much different world. We knew we had a tremendous team in Southfield that was working from an inside sales perspective, direct to broker. You joined our team to build the Dallas team, and then COVID hits. And so that's changed our view over time of kind of the way that we were thinking about the business and what we thought, Frank, I think what we thought was possible in building a direct to broker kind of experience. So maybe you can share, how that's changed, and what our support mechanisms, how they've evolved with that change in thinking through COVID.
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember some of the conversations we had early on, and there was a part of me that wouldn't have been surprised if you or Sanjeev or Russ, made a decision to just, now's not the time to build this thing. And it's tough to explain the story if you weren't a part of it, but Caliber was thinking about building this way before the pandemic was known internationally. So we were going to build this anyway, and I wasn't going to be shocked if you said, "Hey, man, I know we were going to try to do this, but instead we're going to just fold it." And a lot of companies probably did that, but Caliber, you and Russ, Sanjeev, and the other leaders, um, decided to, I don't want to say double down, but really see that this is the way of the future. And we were going to build it anyway, but it's a good augment or additive to our traditional account executive team. And being that everyone was going to end up working from home anyway, we may as well do it on a larger scale. And it wasn't an easy pill to swallow at first, and knowing that we were going to be thrust into a home office work environment, especially being used to call center sales for a couple of decades. But once we started rolling down this path, and we saw everyone on the Caliber team, from training to human resources, our technology friends, operations, everyone on the team kind of, adopting that work from home mentality, we were all in. And then we decided that we could do this. And of course, the market gave us a nice little tailwind. We could do this without having the safety and security of the call center in Dallas, in Capel. And then at the same time that was all happening, we have a brand new building being built. And we're really excited about moving into that brand new suite and seeing all the new office furniture. And then, nope, the furniture you're going to see is the same furniture you have in your house. So we quickly adapted and decided that now is the time to really focus in on team members, their happiness, and exactly and specifically what will make them successful, and then conversely what will make our partners successful and their clients happy. And I think that was a conscious decision made, and it made us really rethink our business plan and the strategy. But we have some fantastic people on the team that made that not only enjoyable but actually possible. And I think we're doing quite well, even amidst that headwind as far as the work from home environment goes.
We are, and I think you're exactly right. The vision for team members that are in Capel or Dallas in the future, or in our Southfield team, that's still there. I mean, I'm really excited. I mean, I'm a person who feeds on the energy of others, so I can't wait till we can be back in the office and together. And I think there's distinct advantages to that. So that vision remains. And I think what's exciting is that we've recognized that you can be very successful in this, and we can train people effectively, even remotely, to do this. And so that's enabled us to widen our net and really reach out to a different pool of talent as we grow this part of our business rapidly. So in that regard, it's very exciting. And again, I think the tools that we had envisioned that would help an account executive in a centralized environment are completely aligned to the tools they'll need to be successful at home. And so the mindset and some of the framework we put around that, just to make sure people are trained appropriately and supported with great leadership, those are the things that we're adjusting for a work from home environment, and excited for the future.
Yeah, we're attracting, BC before COVID. The conversation would have been, "Hey, David, I've got a fantastic opportunity for you. I know you're out there in, East Bum Cupcakeville. But here's the thing, I need you to move to either Capel, Texas or Southfield, Michigan. What are your thoughts?" Now the conversation is, "David, I know you're a fantastic account executive. You've been doing this for quite some time. We believe in you. And as a matter of fact, we're so invested in your growth that we're going to allow you to just stay right where you are, work from home, work remotely. With our technology, with our leadership, with our support, we believe that we can elevate your business." And that's the new conversation that we're having with folks that have a bit of experience in the business. As a leader, anyone can manage the business remotely, but to lead the business remotely is a completely different conversation. We're flying completely blind here. We have only data to look at, and numbers. We can't tell if Sam comes in the morning and they're upset, or if Pat's having a fantastic day, just celebrated maybe an anniversary or birthday the prior night, and they're coming in fully engaged. We don't have that opportunity anymore. So all we have to go by are those numbers on a screen. So having the ability to work remotely, having the ability to actually have the video conversations with folks early in the morning, check in throughout the day, maybe an end of day recap, that's going to propel us further. So knowing that we can do that remote in a small environment, in a localized fashion around the Southfield office or the Capella office, has allowed us to actually branch out further and say, who cares? As long as they can VPN in and they're going to run their business and their definition of success meets ours, let's go. Let's grow this
That's right.
thing and help more partners as a result.
That's right. And, I think you and I are on the same page that, the greatest offering that we can offer, that we can provide to any account executive, any team member is leadership and support. Um, and along with that is the technology. I mean, we're doing so many things, and we have a long way to go to realize our full vision of how we deliver technology that supports both our AEs and our broker partners to reach their full potential. So maybe you could share first, what's the thing that you're most excited about that we've been able to do with technology over the last 10 months to help account executives be successful?
You know, the account executive role should be one that doesn't have to do a whole lot by way of technology. To be able to teach the broker partners that we have, to be able to run through the systems that we have quickly, move them fast. That's kind of paramount for us. Again, going back to what you said, our account executives should be able to focus on building relationships and solutioning. What our broker partners are having as far as problems go. From my perspective, the technology on the operations side has probably been the most exciting for me. And not just like my excitement, but our operations leadership's excitement, our technology team's excitement. What they're doing with our proprietary LOS is, well, it's changing the business for us. And as a result of wholesales, maybe small steps forward, that's going to help all of our channels and lift all of our operations team members and create more efficiencies there. So I'm most excited about our operations team excitement about their technology advancements. And then second to that, from the account executive position within our CRM, we're doing so many things because we have so many broker partners that we want to help. We're in kind of a world of opportunity right now. We're doing so many additive things inside of our technology in the CRM to make sure that our account executives can be more efficient on that side. So front loading data, like we mentioned, is number one for me there, because then the account executive doesn't have to do all of that research. They can at the tips of their fingers find out exactly and specifically who they're speaking with before they pick up the phone and make that call. And then from a call center perspective, we now have the best technology in the business, world class by far, and I'm very excited about our ability to not only mentor account executives by way of listening to phone calls, also recorded calls, but to make sure that our account executives have the best technology at their fingertips so that they don't have to worry about that stuff. We've been at organizations in the past where you have to worry about whether or not the system is stable or capable. And in this case, we're very, very pleased with our technology by way of just the basic call center stuff.
Yeah, boy, you laid out a ton there that we're doing, and it's a great story. The commitment, and as we say here, and we're just getting started. So
Yeah.
it's all about helping people be more productive. And I think one of the other exciting storylines of all this is that, as I've told our team many times, what's good for DTB is good for everyone. And so as we're building these things that are specifically for kind of a use case for our new team members who are coming on, because we want to help them ramp up and get new relationships and make an impact faster. It's also enabling our existing talented team members to do better and better. So I think there's a really exciting storyline there again as we talk about how we're building this team that works together and benefits as a unit. That just gets me fired up every time to get feedback from our 10-year veterans saying, wow, this is really something. This really helped me today.
If we can do anything to impress upon a veteran at our company, somebody that's been with us for, the better part of a decade, to make their day more efficient, to make their broker partner clients happier, then that's just, again, that's additive. That's a cherry on top of the sundae that already tastes good, right? And
That's
I
right.
think what we're building in the sundae of DTB, pretty much everything, like you mentioned, the environment inside of a centralized position, a centralized call center environment, all the technology enhancements you can do there, every bit of that is enhanced, is elevated when you go to a work from home environment. Every bit of that technology becomes even more important to us. So now you take that and you add it to our existing, the traditional distributed account executive team, and now you give them that same technology. The top account executives know that that's there to help them to perform better, to perform faster, and to help our broker partners even more. And then I think that adoption rate is surprisingly very high as well. I did not anticipate that our folks would be that eager to digest new technologies and then use that technology to get better. And that's been a surprise over the last 9 months for sure, a very
Yeah.
pleasant one.
Yeah. Well, hey, transitioning, we've been talking about growth. We're obviously um, talking to a lot of people, trying to find the most talented folks that we can, the most talented people in the business across roles. And I know you're at the forefront of that, doing a lot of interviewing. So we're a half hour into this discussion. So anybody who's still listening is clearly committed. I feel like they deserve a little morsel here, a little help if they're
Props
interested.
to you.
Yeah, a little a morsel here to help them along if they're interested in joining us. So, knowing what you know and your expectations, what kind of advice would you give to people right now in thinking about remote interviews? What are the things that you're looking for somebody to talk about or demonstrate in a virtual environment?
Very, very good question. Our candidates, and you mentioned, yeah, we've been interviewing a lot of folks, and it's great. Calibra has a fantastic brand, fantastic name, not just in Texas but in the business, and that's come through, third party when I'm talking to our newest candidates for the role. The thing that I'm looking for, kind of top of mind, frontal lobe, is someone that can articulate what they want out of this. Not someone that's going to sit back and just, get what they get or get what we provide, but actually come in a more forward position. Someone that's going to go get what they want out of this role. The way it works in the basic conversation is all we do is have conversations. That's
Mhm.
the job of an account executive. If you break it down to the basics, it's just having conversations. It's communicating effectively, sharing information. That's all the job really is. And you do that through the headset, through the telephone, you do it through the keyboard, through digital means, email, text, and other things. And the team members that I get the most excited about, the candidates that I get the most excited about, are those that can hold that conversation. They grasp the English language, they understand how to have a back and forth, do it with respect, do it with authority, and have the understanding that the most important person on that call is the person they're speaking with. That's what we're looking for. So I'm looking for a conversation, and that will lead me to believe that that candidate will have a fantastic conversation with our partners and build a relationship. To go a little further, the difference that I found in this position over a direct to consumer or retail loan officer role is that it's highly non-transactional. And that ability to build a relationship with someone from nothing, to go from nothing to something, that takes a communicator, an expert communicator. That's first and foremost. The ante to play, the box to check, of course, is having that mortgage acumen, right? Having that mortgage knowledge, but then the aptitude to understand the wholesale side of the business if you haven't been there before. That's got to show inside that conversation. We don't have the ability to be right next to someone to walk them through a conversation or live coach, if you believe in that. We don't have that ability, so we have to rely upon them to go out and do that on their own, come back and understand what they might have done wrong or what they could improve upon, then have a great conversation right there and then about coaching, about how to make the next conversation good. We have what we'd consider a singular opportunity. There are only so many broker partners in the United States. We want to work with as many of them as possible. But if you blow that first conversation, the likelihood of them working with Caliber again in the future is lower. So we need folks that are high-level communicators that understand mortgage and that can do it on their own.
I think that's exactly right. We've got to get people who are um, have a passion for what they're doing and can convey that to get the trust really for the first loan, if you will. Because after that, it's got to be our execution. I can like you a ton for who you are, but if you can't execute, then you can't earn my business. So we've got to get people though who can break through and get us that shot, and then let our amazing operations and technology and those kind of things take over, and go from there. But great point, and certainly something that we would look for in an interview. So I know we're running a little low on time here, and one of the things I wanted to ask you, Craig, because I know you and I have had so many conversations about this, is we're both people. We like to be around other people. We're high energy. Culture is important, and again, it changes when you're working from home. So what's been your take on building a team and building relationships in a work from home kind of virtual environment? What are some of the things that you've had to change or adapt?
The the old cliche of the best salespeople ask the most questions,
Yeah.
kind of goes right into leadership. The best leaders that I've had, yourself included, ask the best and the most questions, and just seek to understand. And for our leadership team, me included, the more questions I can ask, the more information I can find out about our team members, the better we're going to be. And I don't mean like getting extremely personal either. We can stay on the surface of, a personal relationship depending on the person. But the more I work with our team, the more we work together, the more I learn about our team, the more I love our team. And it's just, the more information I have, the better I'm going to be as a leader. And
Right.
for our folks that are working remote, I'm here in Grapevine, Texas. We have a team member on our team that's out in Southern California right now. And for me to build a relationship with that individual is impeded by not being able to be in an office environment together. So that just means that my text communication has to increase. My emails have to be a little bit more well thought out. Our conversations when we're on the phone, I'm trying to do FaceTime or video conferencing, and it's just even more important for us to have as much of a physical touch as we can without actually being together. And the more information I learn about our team members, the better I think I am for them and their leader, as their leader. But also learning what gets people to get up in the morning, learning what gets them excited. It's actually easier for me to key in on that because I'm not distracted, so I can actually
Mhm.
be involved in that conversation, and I know my audience better as a result of it. It's kind of going from a shotgun to a sniper rifle when you think
Mhm.
about the focus that you can have, because you're not distracted. Right now, somebody from operations can't walk into the room I'm in, right? I'd have to consciously allow myself to look at my email on my third screen right now.
Yeah.
I can't be distracted. I am 100% with you right now. That is rare in an office environment. So being able to work from home allows us to focus in more on our team members and more on their needs, and that helps us build the team, because I think that team foundation is on trust, and then we get the respect and the admiration later. But I think that trust is so important, and to get that, it's the same thing we're asking our account executives to do with our broker partners: build that relationship through communication and shared experiences. And
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to focus on.
Yeah, and you touched on something early on there too that really resonated with me about the way that I'm trying to approach it with our team as well, which is that we have to be really intentional, because in a live environment, if you will, we might run into people in the hallway, or we can call a quick huddle and get people around, or go visit our branches and those kind of things. And I think as we've gone on, this thing, with COVID and working from home has extended, I think, further certainly than I ever thought it would. Um, we're having to think about, okay, how do we recreate those kind of interactions? And so whether that's doing more Friday afternoon happy hours, or team huddles, or creating events like our Caliber Clubhouse, where we're bringing partners together in the next week to create, normally when we would bring people together to a center, our partners and our salespeople and our ops people to all get together and spend a couple days strategizing. We're trying to recreate that in a TV show format. So we've got to be really creative and think about what are the ways that you connect and add value, and how do we do that differently? Because, I do think, and I'm starting even myself to settle into, hey, we got a ways to go here before we can get back to life the way we used to know it. And I don't want to sacrifice the relationships, sacrifice the progress in our business, and I know the things that we can invest in our team members and brokers in the interim. And so we'll keep on thinking of how we do that. And in fact, this podcast is a good example of that, of how we're trying to get out and meet new people in new ways that maybe we haven't in the past.
10 months ago, if I called you on FaceTime, you were not going to answer that call. It wasn't going to happen. Was not like there was.
Probably not for you, but
No, definitely not. But now it's common. It's commonplace.
Exactly.
To get personal. I haven't seen my daughter in 8 months.
Wow.
And we FaceTime, and that is the way that I'm learning. A 6.5-year-old. Think about that. That is aside from what we're building. That is outside of the what we're talking about. Every single person on our team has something like that they're going through. Learning what that is learning the team, is building the team and understanding the team. And in a PC world post-COVID, imagine if we hold these same habits and these same behaviors, but now we have the benefit of the office. That's the way we have to look at it. We have to look at it as every bit of this is a challenge that once we overcome, we gain a tool in the tool belt that we didn't have before. A new thingamajig that allows us to do something faster, better, and for our team members, and for subsequently for our broker partners.
Yep. Well, hey, I know you've probably got another amazing candidate that you've got to get to here shortly.
We do.
So, closing thoughts, parting thoughts on, what you're looking for in a candidate, why somebody should be excited about Caliber. I'll leave it up to you. Parting words.
Sure. We have some green pastures, my friend. We have fantastic people. When a candidate asks me why I joined Caliber Home Loans, people, number one. I know the people are fantastic. Learning more about the people over time, of course, but the folks that got me here, like yourself, and the folks that I met in my interview process, above board, top shelf, fantastic human beings. Number two, I believe that our opportunity right now to build something special inside the marketplace that we're in is uncharted. It's one of a kind, and we're going to do something very, very special. 2020 will go down for so many reasons to be studied, but what Caliber does inside the DTB division, by way of our Michigan friends, our Dallas friends, and our remote friends, is going to be very, very special. And I always want to be a part of building something special. And that's, to me, number two. And then three, if you're a selfish individual, for lack of a better explanation, and you want to be a leader, you want to be in on something early. We are a startup inside of a very formidable organization. I think we're 5,500, 6,000 team members strong. And inside our team, we're a couple dozen. So imagine building that team, getting to 100, 150, 200 folks, but being one of the first 20 something, right? That is exciting to me. So that's number three, if I'm looking at our candidates. And I am more excited now than ever before in my life to interview folks, because this is a time where that is the most challenging thing to do. Yeah. And we want to take on challenges head on. That's part of our culture.
Yep. Well, Craig, I appreciate everything that you've done in building up our DTB team out of Dallas, contributing to our wholesale group, and for the last 45 minutes today, sharing with prospective team members here at Caliber, or just folks interested in what's going on in the recruiting and development of our direct sales here at Caliber. So until next time, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Home Connection podcast from Caliber Home Loans. Please see the show notes for links to topics discussed in this episode, and be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.